Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Tank. I'm your host Tyler Rains with my co-host Alex Fortadol, and we hope you've enjoyed this week of Steelheads hockey because it was an interesting one to say the very least. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to get into a couple of other things as well. So, Alex, first and foremost, I got to ask you, as per usual, how you feeling? What's new with you?
Not a lot. Um, this past weekend of hockey has been it's just been fine, but as much as winning two out of three games is good. That is absolutely good. Man, they should have demolished Niagara. They should have demolished Ottawa, but it's weird. It's a weird time. It's a weird time in terms of Steelheads hockey right now.
Definitely is, and I mean the important thing is that they won 2 games back to back. They they didn't play bad against Ottawa on Sunday, but we're going to get into that when we do our recap. So I guess the first game, the Barrie Coles were up 3-1.
Great comeback.
Steelheads came back and scored four unanswered goals to end up winning the game 5-3.
Yeah. But yeah, man, and see, like that's when they're on their A game right there, right?
Because complete effort. It was a complete effort.
Absolutely, absolutely, and the thing is, of course, before these 3 games, they weren't playing great. They were losing majority of the games. They were getting a lot of shots on net, which they've been doing all season, but they weren't getting the puck in the net.
Yeah,
but what is showing absolutely against Barrie's not one of the best teams in the league, but they're also not bad.
Yeah,
they're fine.
They're like that mid-tier type.
They're that mid-tier, absolutely. Well, listen, man. Hey, man, if you have Brant Clark, of course you're gonna not be a bad team. He's such an incredible player. But yeah, that is a huge comeback right there, and it just goes to show when things are clicking, they can easily get it done at any point in the game. Because let's be real here, they scored, I believe, 2 of the comeback goals within the last 2 minutes of the game.
Oh, it's incredible. Like
that is absolutely incredible. Zach Lavoie scored some big goals in that game. Overall in the weekend, he scored some big goals, but
which I think next episode I want to talk about the NHL Central Scouting rankings and because they just released their newest ones coming up for March, I believe.
Mm.
So I want to talk about that next time when we actually get the list. But he's definitely putting his name out there for the draft.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, they ended up winning that game on Thursday, went into a home game against Niagara on Friday. It was 2-0 at one point.
It was.
And then, it ended up being 3-2 for the win, which was surprising because it's not usually that close against the Ice Dogs, right? So
nothing is this close against the Ice Dogs this year. Nothing.
Luca Del Bel Blues, Owen Beck, and Ty Collins had the goals for the Steelheads, and of course James Hardy with a 2-assist game. He's now surpassed 60 points, so he has over a point per game now through the
season. Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, him and
like,
Del Bel Blues. Oh yeah, it just goes to show, man. Undrafted, what the hell, man?
Undrafted talent.
Man. Honestly, undrafted 2 years in a row is over a point per game. He's listen. By the end of next season, you and I have talked about this off camera, but he'll probably become the -- 1 goal scorer in Saga history in terms of actual goals, right? Because I believe he's tied with
he just the other game. I think it was on Thursday.
Yeah.
No, it was on Friday.
It was Thursday because he scored the goal in Barrie. He didn't score on Friday, so it was Thursday.
Yes,
in Barrie.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, so he tied Owen Tippett for most game-winning goals in franchise history.
That's insane.
That's a huge milestone. Like
that is a huge milestone, and just think that Owen Tippett was a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
And James Hardy 2 years in a row undrafted.
It's crazy,
and he's putting up that many goals. Especially clutch goals, right? So,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, I mean, you look at these guys. James Hardy's got 65 points on the season, right? 32 goals, 33 assists. Pretty impressive. Luca Del Bel Blues, 26 goals, 38 assists, 64 points.
From getting bottom line minutes, that's incredible. For Luca Del Bel Blues, that's absolutely incredible.
Exactly. Ethan Del Mastro, 39 points, 5 goals, 34 assists. Like he's having a bounce back here. And then you look at the rookies. Zach Lavoie has 16 goals and 18 assists. That in itself is impressive. He's living up to that kind of goal scorer type player
yeah.
that everybody was looking
Oh
at.
yeah, absolutely.
And then Owen Beck has 43 points in 51 games.
Just killing any expectations I think anyone, well, or at least I had for him necessarily, because I knew he was going to be a decent player, but
the fact
yeah,
that he's almost at 50 points
in his
through
draft year too,
50
that
games
helps.
is
Yeah,
crazy, especially in your draft year. Like that's incredible.
first year, and he will draft year, and also given how this is his first year in the OHL, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Like it's it. I have no words. This
that's
team has
insane.
been so incredible. There's not one player on this team that has not impressed me this year.
In some way, in some shape or
Exactly.
form.
Sure,
Yeah.
there are times where I'm sure that the fans got frustrated, as did we. That's perfectly normal.
Mhm.
But there's to say that they've let anybody down. I don't think that's the case. Like they've exceeded everybody's expectations.
They have, oh, absolutely, especially in the standings, in terms of personal goals. Because realistically, going to the season, I just thought James Hardy was going to be playing. Well, James Hardy hasn't playing the way I thought James Hardy would be playing.
Yeah.
But did I expect Luka Dellavedova to have this good of a year? No. Did I expect Lavoie to be putting up a lot of goals in his rookie year and also showing great passing, getting a good amount of assists as well? No. Would I think Owen Beck would be contending for rookie of the year in the OHL? No. Heck no. I didn't think that at all.
I think if you were going to give the OHL's most improved player
that's Luka
award,
Dellavedova.
that's Luka Dellavedova, because you look at his first year in the league.
Yeah.
50 some odd games, and he didn't he just didn't look comfortable. But you look at him this season, it's second nature. Just making incredible plays with that first line is just second nature. So I mean, that's what really helped contribute to Friday's win. It's sorry, I just got a notification that Derek Jeter stepped down as the CEO of the Marlins. That's weird.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, that's just incredible timing. I actually really.
Right, honestly, right as the baseball lockout's going out.
Right as the baseball lockout is happening.
But yeah, that first line was a big reason why they were able to win on Friday. I would have liked to have seen them have a lights out game.
The last time I played Niagara, it was lights out.
Niagara score any goals, but
absolutely,
it is what it is.
Absolutely.
Then we go into Sunday's game. They played pretty well. They just didn't have a whole lot of good puck luck when it came to the first half of the game, and I think the third period.
That was when.
Oh my gosh, that is when the refereeing took a nosedive off a long cliff.
Yeah, no, it was
We're gonna get
a lot of boarding
calls
next. Yeah,
and we never criticized the refereeing, but I mean, it was over the last few games, it's been so inconsistent, so bad. Like it needs to be mentioned.
It absolutely mentioned.
So this one was a 3-1 loss to Ottawa. The 67's got a couple of good chances. It's like JR was saying yesterday, and we're gonna put the post game up as well after this, that they played well, but it was almost as if he didn't directly say it, but I could tell that everybody was thinking it. Those calls against them didn't help either.
Well, yeah, absolutely. His reactions during the game, especially.
Oh yeah,
against some of the calls,
it was
pretty evident.
Yeah. It's rare, if ever, that you see him not happy with the referees behind the bench, and I'm talking it's
been happening a lot lately.
Yeah, but yesterday was evident that this was, even you and I were talking during the game, and it was just absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. But they ended up losing that game 3-1, so they won 2 out of 3. But on the bright side, they're still a couple points ahead of Hamilton in first place in the Eastern Conference, which is good. They just have to keep up their winning ways.
Absolutely. And in terms of the schedule, I'm just thinking the schedule isn't the worst. It's not easy, but because I believe, of course, we'll talk about it, when we do our look ahead, but I believe they're facing Oshawa, right? And Oshawa,
yeah, they
can be pretty feisty. Especially Oscar Olsen. Oh my gosh, he's been killing it lately.
Exactly. But let's talk about the refereeing. This is like the segment that I really didn't want to do.
This is a brand new segment.
But yeah, hopefully it's going to be a one-time thing. But
I hope it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really want to have to talk about the refereeing, but I think it's worth mentioning this year that with the pandemic being the way that it is, and the season being out of whack in all sorts of ways, refereeing has not changed. Like,
For the better,
at
at least. Yeah,
At
for the
all.
better. Yeah.
I'd say over the last 3, 4, 5 games, and it's not just the Steelheads, this is the OHL in general.
Yeah.
The amount of suspensions that I think are very questionable, the amount of calls that are being made that, quite frankly, are pretty soft calls.
Yeah.
I want to bring up one in particular yesterday from it was, I think, Casper Larson's. He got 2 boarding calls in that game.
Yeah.
That first one shouldn't have been a boarding call. The second one, okay, it
was. Second one was absolutely
can't
boarding
really
call.
do
The
that.
first one,
that first one was
not a boarding call. And then right
awful.
after, I believe, absolutely. And then right after, I don't know if it was. I don't think it was like right after that call, but maybe at least it was after.
It was
that
later
play.
on in the game. I know that
later on in the game that Ottawa boarded a Mississauga player.
Oh yeah,
frankly,
and
just killed a guy.
He was down.
No call. He was down.
No call.
No call. The bench was fuming. JR was fuming. Right? No call. It was more obvious than the first Casper Larson boarding call.
Yeah,
Yet nothing.
There's so many. It's like I mentioned. There's so many inconsistencies when it comes to the refereeing this year, and I'm not one to usually criticize it, like this. But what's going on? If you're gonna call one, you got to call them all. You know what I mean? Like,
if you're gonna be badly inconsistent, just be badly inconsistent. Don't be badly inconsistent and ignorant, basically.
Yeah, because because the way it looks, and I'm not saying that this is the truth. The way it looks from our perspective and from the spectators' perspectives, it looks like the refs are kind of tilting the game in one team's favor, and that might not necessarily be the case. But you need to call things consistently, because if one guy gets a boarding call for Mississauga and the other guy does the exact same thing and gets off scot-free, that doesn't look great on you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that leads me to, I guess, like my next question: what needs to change? Because if Hockey Canada claims that their refereeing program is the best in the world, sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes it doesn't look like it. So what do you what needs to change? I think that they need to do more extensive training to prepare for moments like this, right? Because you see a lot of people on social media and at the games just yelling at the refs, calling them names and whatnot. It's abusive official, right? And even the players are getting to that point. I don't know if you saw, but Avery Hayes for
Flint.
Hamilton.
Sorry, Hamilton?
Yep.
I'm thinking of Gavin Hayes. My
apologies. You're thinking of Gavin Hayes. Yeah, so Avery Hayes got suspended for abusive official. He was yelling at the ref, called him a name. I don't exactly know what the call was. You got a player who in Saginaw who got like a 4-game suspension or something like that. He put his hands on the ref. Can't do that either.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point where the players are getting fed up with it, where the coaches are getting fed up with it, and where the fans are getting fed up with it.
Yeah. Oh,
You've got to train them better for this moment, because when you have ones like this, you're going to get booed out of the building, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what, okay. It happened, but it didn't really happen, because I remember, of course, the same game yesterday against Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
After that, after that brutal no call against Ottawa for boarding, the referees then called a penalty later on in the third period to Mississauga. The place went nuts. They were like, "Oh, you're doing your job. Good." Like, listen. You know when a crowd does that you're having a really bad day.
It shouldn't.
That's not good.
To get to that point,
it really shouldn't. The Steelhead bench, they were going nuts, tapping their sticks on the boards. Yeah, everyone. It was like, come on, like that. When that happens, that's
probably
not good.
Twice or 3 times in the last 3 games, and that's
it's not
a good thing.
It's not good.
It's not a shot against all referees, because
of course not.
Not all refs are doing that, but
absolutely.
When you're reffing a game, you just got to keep your eyes open and try and catch as much as possible, right? If it was like a blatant call when I'm not going to mention names, of course, because it's
I forget the refs' names. I don't really.
He was looking right at that play when it happened, and Ottawa should have got that penalty, and there was no call. that is the kind of stuff that, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, hopefully you can only hope that the refereeing situation improves. And I mean, again, I'm not one to criticize it, but I think that, you know, it needed to be brought up. So
yeah, if I could just say one more thing, I'll just end my piece on this.
Yes.
You know, and this was something I was thinking about asking JR, but of course the loss happened. I wasn't going to ask this, but as of late, within the past 5 or 6 games, I feel like the games, or at least Mississauga games, have been the calls have been impacting it a bit too much, right?
Yeah, and I
And
mean,
listen,
they aren't necessarily the Steelheads' fault. Some of them, I mean, like,
no, some of them are bad. Some
but
of them are bad. Some of them are not the Steelheads' fault. But the thing is that, even if you get a bad call, you just gotta play it. You gotta deal with it, right?
yeah, you can't let it get to your head, because I mean,
can't
the more
let
you
it
do
get to your
that,
head.
then, you know, the worse it's gonna get, right?
Oh, absolutely. And then absolutely. And the funny thing is, JR even said when we talked to him, I believe a couple days ago, and he said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, it's up to Hockey Canada to play whatever refs they want to play, right? It's up to them to review their work and to say, you know what, should this guy get more games? Should this guy not get more games? And the thing is, it's not even just Mississauga games in general. Overall, throughout the league this year,
it's everybody in the league.
Yeah,
it's not just. So I don't want people to look at this and be like, "Oh, they're being homers towards the Steelheads." It's
no, it's not even that. Listen. I know a guy who's been complaining about Ottawa officiating whenever Ottawa's at home, right? Like
the amount of
to do with us.
And I think the amount of players that are getting suspensions and fines for back talking the referees, it's that's evident that they need to do better. They need to do better. And this is not, again, it's not a shot at the referees, but they need to do better, because the players are starting to not like them. The coaches are starting to get really upset with them. And I don't even want to talk about the things that were said from the fans yesterday, because I mean,
that was bad. There was a guy heckling the refs. That was brutal. But you know what? All of these bad calls is just creating animosity between the players and the refs. The players are going to come into the game knowing, if that guy's refereeing, we're screwed. This isn't baseball. Exactly. This isn't Angel Hernandez. This isn't any crap like that.
Exactly.
But
and I mean, I think that you can only hope that Hockey Canada looks at this and says, okay, well, we need to do more training programs that get these refs ready for games like this. You know what I mean? Or moments like that where you have to make a tough call. So, though it may suck, we might have to deal with that for the rest of the season. And then you can only hope in the off season that, they do something about it. Let's move into the look ahead for this week. It's going to be a pretty interesting one. We got the Hamilton Bulldogs on Thursday. There's an away game. Mason McTavish is back from the Olympics.
Yay. Oh man. Oh, and the last time they faced us, they killed us.
And that was without McTavish.
That was without McTavish. And then now you have, let's be real here. I love Shane Wright. McTavish is probably the best player in the OHL though right now. Yeah. I'm terrified. And they're going to be in Hamilton. Oh, man. I'm really scared about that, man. I'm really scared about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, that might be an interesting game. I mean, you look at the record from this season so far, it's been like a 50-50 split. Hamilton's got a few games. The Steelheads have got a few games.
Yeah.
Based on the way they played last time, I think they're going to have that hunger to beat them this time.
I hope so.
It's very possible they could get the win.
It's going to be difficult.
We'll have to wait and see, because again, Mason McTavish is back. They have a few of their stars back from injury. Marco Constantini,
he's very good.
Why?
Nate Steos is carrying their. Actually, no, he's not carrying their defensive core. But my God,
but he's the fact that he's getting here for sure.
He's getting goals by the buttload, Nathan Steos.
Then they're at home on Friday to face the Oshawa Generals.
That's a win.
Yeah, the Oshawa Generals.
I think that's a win. I really say that.
If you can shut down Oscar Olesen and David Jesus,
and they've done that before all season though. Even when Olsen was unburied, they shut him down. So
exactly. So
it's not difficult.
Should be. I don't want to jinx anything here. Should be a relatively good game to watch. And then of course they're in Niagara on Sunday afternoon.
If they don't score a touchdown, I'm not listen, come on, man. If they don't score a touchdown.
Yeah. it should be interesting to
It
say
sh-
the very
it
least.
should be it should be a fun game to
Just
watch. Yeah.
based on the history that these guys have had, the Steelheads got 6 straight wins against the Ice Dogs this year.
Is that really it? Really? I
6
didn't know that.
straight wins.
Wow, Niagara sucks, man. Holy crap. Sorry, I'm just.
It's this year. They're like, look, we would usually.
I hope they
from a
get
fan's
Nate Villeneuve.
perspective-
I hope they get first overall.
From like the
Could use
fans'
it.
perspective, we would usually say that every year. But I mean,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
they are legit historically bad this season, which is
They are
I
really
feel
bad this
bad for them,
season.
but also like this is
They don't have
it's
anyone though, right? You know, they lost everyone, right?
yeah. I mean, it's only so
It's
much.
not
you can do.
necessarily, yeah. It's not
Young
necessarily the
league.
players suck. It's the players don't suck.
Yeah.
They just don't
It's-
like. They're all young.
It's
They're
just
all
it's a young league, and they're struggling a little bit.
It's a
because
young
they're a little
team.
bit younger than all the other teams, right?
Absolutely. Like,
So-
yeah, rookie panel famous can only get you so far, folks.
Exactly. Yes.
So
So before we end off the episode, I wanted to thank today's brilliant sponsor, CW Sports Memorabilia. Alex, you have a really, really cool portrait back there of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. that's autographed. And I see that you actually have some really cool Steelheads merch as well. What if I told you that there is a place that you can get it for a really, really good price that's affordable and that you don't have to go out of your way to get it?
well, I could probably believe that because our good friend Charles Warburton does that for us and for you. Of course, those who know Charles is the official photographer of the Mississauga Steelheads. He also runs an incredible sports memorabilia business, hockey, soccer, football, whatever sport you like, whatever mainstream sport you like. He has incredible autographed pucks, sticks, game-worn memorabilia. He sells signed paintings of some of the greatest hockey players of all time. He's
Oh, and
always
those
getting in new wares. Yeah.
Oh, they're so cool too. I
They
definitely
are
recommend checking them
really
out because I mean, if you haven't seen them yet,
Yeah.
they have. I think one of my favorites is the Evander Holyfield picture that he has,
Yeah.
and that was it looks like it was hand painted and it's autographed, of course. So it's just stuff like that that I absolutely love to collect. And plus,
Absolutely. Yeah.
if that wasn't enough, he also does custom jersey framing. So let's say that you have, I don't know, a Mark Stone Vegas Golden Knights jersey, beautiful jersey that was autographed,
Great jersey.
and you're not sure where to get it framed. Definitely go to CW Sports Memorabilia because they have the best selection of mahogany wood. Anything that you want, if you have a vision to get this jersey framed, they can do it for you.
Or just
And
anything.
the best part
framed.
about it all
Yeah.
is all affordable. It's not going to cost you $1,000 to get the jersey framed. It's a very good price.
It's
And
a
Alex,
very
you know what
good
the best part about all of this is?
What is the best part, Tyler?
If you use code PROSHOT, you can save 10% off your first order with CW Sports Memorabilia.
What a deal. No,
That right
listen, that's a
there
good deal.
Sounds pretty good to me.
That's it. Absolutely, man.
So we'll link CW Sports Memorabilia's Instagram and Facebook down in the description so you can go and check them out. Thank you once again for sponsoring this video, and we will probably continue on through the rest of the season with some great, hopeful Steelheads hockey.
Absolutely. It should be good. They have the talent to do it. They just got to get back on the right track, right?
Exactly. And I mean, honestly, it's the last couple of games were tough to watch.
Very
But
tough.
This week, they showed a complete 180. It was almost like they kicked themselves in the butt and they were just like, yeah, we need to do this. They did well. They played well. This week
They won 2 out of 3 games.
Exactly. This week's gonna
It's gonna be a fun week. Yeah.
Exactly. This week is gonna be super fun. What we want to hear from you down below is what have you been enjoying about Inside the Tank so far? Leave your comments down below on our Instagram, on our Twitter, even on our YouTube channel. What have you liked so far through the season? And we're also going to introduce a new segment called Fan Questions, where we are going to answer your questions every week on the podcast. So don't forget to leave some questions down below for us to answer. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and the little bell notification for all future videos. We will see you next time. And as always, I have been Tyler Rains, along with my co-host Alex Fortadall. Stay happy, stay healthy, and be kind to one another.